Since Grand Admiral Thrawn was recanonized, I thought I should go over other Legends media to see what games, books, and TV shows can be considered canon. This video will be taking a look at the 2005 video game Star Wars Republic Commando. The game is about 4 troopers in a squadron named Delta Squad. Delta Squad is technically canon for their appearance in their Clone Wars Season 3 episode, which is The Mist. So can the game be considered canon? In this video, I will go over the 3 levels seen in the game and reviewing them to see whether or not they can be considered canon, or if they contradict anything established. With that in mind, let's get in. Part 1. The First Battle of Geonosis. This part can make or break the argument that the game is canon, since it goes into the battle we see in the films. Luckily, the game does not go into the main battle, instead tells its own story for the most part, aside from the films. Their part in the battle is apart from the movies. Their mission is in 3 parts. The first one is to take out a Geonosian lieutenant named San Fek. The second is to blow up a droid factory, and the third is to get launch codes on a core ship. There's a lot more to go over, but I won't go in here to keep this brief. This does not contradict anything seen in the films or the movies because of the isolation from the rest of the events in the film. I have done research, and the one thing that I can see stopping this from being canon is the droids we see, but we can assume that these droids are prototypes only made on Geonosis and wasn't made because the Republic seizing the droid factories. So for the most part, this level can be considered canon. Mission 2. Part 2. Mission to the Prosecutor. The thing about this level is that we have a date for when it takes place. 367 days into the war. A little over a year into the Clone Wars. So we have to put a timeline together. Let's say the knighting of Anakin Skywalker happened 1 to 2 weeks or even months after the Battle of Geonosis. By the time we see him in the Clone Wars, he's known Captain Rex for a little while. So it must have happened very early on in the events of the Clone Wars. So let's say that the Clone Wars movie to the end of the 2nd season is the first year of the Clone Wars, and since the first few episodes of Season 3 are often prequels, so let's say that the event to the Prosecutor happened at some point around the episode Spear of Influence, where the event took place. The mission is to take back a Star Destroyer that has been lost for 2 weeks. Once on the ship, they are ambushed by the Confederacy of Independent System droids and Trandoshan slavers. In Legends, some Trandoshans did join with the CAS. In canon, they have no side, but we do see Trandoshans working for the Separatists. So we can assume that more would work. There's not much in the way of stuff to give an in-depth analysis on, since it takes place in space, so it does not interfere with canon as we know it. So this can easily be placed into canon. So for this next part, I'm going to have to split it up. Part 3, the Kashyyyk campaign's place in the timeline. The Kashyyyk campaign was the lead up to the battle we see in the movie, so we can assume this happened shortly before what we see in the Revenge of the Sith. To see when this takes place, we have to go over a timeline. Let's see the last episode of the Clone Wars. Sacrifice is 5 months before Revenge of the Sith. And the story reels, which are the Utapau arc, is the next 2 weeks after the end. The Bad Batch is the next 2 weeks to 1 month. The Son of Dathomir comic picks up after these events, and the canon comic can overlap with the late Clone Wars stories, such as Dark Disciple. The last known battle with General Grievous was in the canon comic, which leads up to the Battle of Megiddo, which is seen in the movies. The last Clone Wars story will tie up the loose ends between Revenge of the Sith, will be in the Ahsoka novel, which will most likely tie into Order 66, and the last Clone Wars events before the film. The book has not come out yet, but we can assume it will not go into the Battle of Kashyyyk. Now let's get into the game and see what the campaign is about. Trandoshan slavers have established their camps and are enslaving Wookiees with the help of separatist weaponry. Delta Squadron is sent to rescue the Wookiee General, Chieftain Tarful. But General Grievous is there with 2 Magna Guards. Let's go over this. Chieftain Tarful, who has been seen in the movies and the Clone Wars TV series. The Trandoshans have been known to attack and enslave Wookiees around the time of the Clone Wars, so it would make sense for them to be there. General Grievous there gives us a sense of time for when this takes place. This is before he captured Palpatine, or most likely before the events of the Megiddo event. So we can assume that so this is just before either of these events. It is before the Ahsoka novel, so with the Kashyyyk campaign can be considered canon, and Master Yoda's presence is there, cannot be considered part of the movie, since Master Yoda did say he does have good relations with the Wookiees. So, now I'm going to move on to my end verdict. End verdict. After researching the events in the game and the canon, I can say that the 2005 Star Wars game, Republic Commandos, does not contradict the new canon and can safely be brought back into the timeline. Now that the games are brought back into canon, I can see them remaking it in HD, and that's fine, but I did this video just for the original game. I think it would be a good idea, since this Republic Commandos is an established property, and they can go back into it, so that they can, do more stuff with canon, since, well, they are in canon, Republic Commandos, from the episode Witches of the Mist. If they remake it in HD, I kind of want D. Bradley Baker to voice the clones, since we do have the most connection with him as the clones. No disrespect to the original voices, but since they're going for a tighter, timeline, I think it would make some more sense for D. Bradley Baker to voice the clones. No disrespect to Tyrannus Morrison either, I doubt he would come back to the game. Republic Commandos can be brought back into canon, and it could be an easy transition. So in the end, I can see this being brought back. Tell me what you would like for them to do. Just say the game is canon, or make a remake, or both. And I will be doing more Star Wars video games and media, so tell me, what Star Wars video game do you want to see if I can fit into canon? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked this video, then hit the button to show it. If you want more Star Wars videos like this, then click that subscribe bar. This was Eli, and peace out.